going on, Notre Dame fans? Mike Singer, Mike Goolsby live on the Blue and Gold YouTube channel on a Wednesday night. Goolsby looks like he should be in Top Gun. You look good, brother.
I just figured, man, those Friday night lights are going to be so damn bright, Singer. I'll put some stunner shades on for the show. You feel me?
I feel you. All right, so we have just now, Notre Dame just tweeted out the jersey reveal. Are you ready?
Hit me.
It's not black, so I guess that one doofus is gonna have to delete his Twitter account. It is, it's just a blue. It looks clean. We can check it out. So here it is.
Please do. This saves us a lot of conversation in the show, Singer. We're gonna have to redo our script.
So there you go. They look clean.
Well, that kid on Twitter was keeping receipts, Singer. So,
dude, what an idiot! Oh man, there you go. So,
and for the record, your boy over here said we weren't wearing them, so we weren't wearing black.
I couldn't find a shred of evidence that they were wearing black. This is the thing. It's like, Notre Dame puts out a little thing about the jerseys, and it's in black. So everyone's like, "Oh, it's black," and then you get like a couple of fan accounts. They just put it out there. Oh, it's black. And then everyone, look, we'll yell fake news about any actual news outlet. But when it comes to just some guy with a Twitter account who puts breaking in all caps, we believe it. It's beyond me. But there you go, folks. No black jerseys.
Well, and I'm glad that we're not doing it, because it just felt like an unnecessary distraction given the magnitude of this game and of this week and all the history, and it didn't seem like it went over well. There's a couple camps, who cares? Just win the game. Yeah, duh. And then there was like, there's the tradition, and it felt kind of sacrilegious to do this in a first. Anyway, moving on. Much to do about nothing.
But Freeman wore a black sweater today. I mean, yeah. All right. So,
I think a lot of people, they had their DIY tinfoil hats, apparently. They're looking for stuff.
Oh, man. Is it gold pants? Are they rocking gold pants? I think they are. Hold on. Give me a second. Then we'll actually talk football. But it looks like, Mike, looks like gold pants.
Clean. One of the best uniforms in college sports, in all of sports. Beautiful.
Yeah. All right. Looks good. Looks good to me. All right, Ghouls. How we feeling? A couple days out from the game.
It's been a long week already. So just got to get through the next couple days. Friday's going to be a long day. But I'm ecstatic, man. I'm ecstatic. Wish I could be there.
Okay, just one more thing on the jersey. Like, this gold looks different, right? Like the pants look different compared to like this, right? Like unless it's just a really high quality photo, but the pants look different. Am I wrong?
Those are like the pants we wore. We'll call it like a shimmery gold. We wore like a shimmery gold when I played, and then they kind of went to that mustard look.
Yeah.
So that's probably more quote unquote traditional. This.
Sure. Yeah. Like, here's another look. Right. So that's what we've been wearing. And then, yeah. So it looks clean. I like it. You wear something cool, but it is not black or, going green jerseys. Like, if Notre Dame loses, you're not going to get clowned about the jerseys. Right. But if you would have worn black or green, you're going to get clowned. But all right, Mike. So you wish you could be there. Me too. Me too, man. I would be, if not for having a 2-month-old. Not going to leave.
No, and I was kind of through doing this and through the Patreon group. Like, I was offered tickets a couple times, which was amazing. But I've got a vacation plan, so I can't go. But I was able to pass them on to a couple young Notre Dame fans.
Nice.
Shout out Mitchell and Mackenzie. And I know they're going to blow their voices out. I just said, that's all I ask, is just be loud. And I think there's been enough conversation about noise in the stadium. Is it loud? Isn't it loud? Shouldn't be an issue. I mean, everybody walking in there should be on a mission. Because again, dude, those lights are going to be bright, brother.
You're going to need some hater blockers on, dude.
You might.
Folks, please hit the thumbs up on this video. Subscribe to the YouTube channel for more content. If you are new here, blueandgold.com, your home for all things Notre Dame football and recruiting coverage. If you're interested in more Goolsby, he's got his Patreon link in his Twitter bio at Mike Goolsby 41. So, Mr. Goolsby, okay, besides wishing you could be there, just again, it's 8:07 p.m. time. We're literally just hit 48 hours until game time. So I think Notre Dame wins by a couple touchdowns. What are you thinking right now? Let's not bury the lead. Like, how are you feeling about this game right now?
Oh, I'm super optimistic. I think we cover.
Yeah.
I think we cover.
Touchdown game, right? Spread.
Touchdown game. Yeah, I think it opened at 7.5, moved to 7. Super optimistic. We're the more talented team. I mean, this team is largely comprised, Indiana is largely comprised of a bunch of 1AA players, FCS players, and they play well as a unit and all the things, right? They've got a 6th-year quarterback. He's an accurate kid. Kind of reminds me of that Northern Illinois quarterback, just in terms of like kind of sneaky athletic, but real accurate, smart with the ball. But we've got better dudes. But the big question going into the game for me, especially like on the offensive side of the ball, and weather's going to factor in here. Does our style of play, does the game plan, does it allow us to showcase how much bigger, faster, and stronger we are as a collective, right? But overall, I'm super optimistic. And we'll kind of highlight some players that I'm looking forward to watching play. And at the end of the day, man, and we're going to talk about Riley Leonard and his status in the eyes of Notre Dame fans and all of this. I just still don't think that young man gets credit or gets enough credit or held in high enough regard. But having Riley in these games, Mike, even if the offense stutters and we've seen it be clunky, I just have a lot of faith in him, man. Like, he can just move the ball. Might not be pretty, but we're going to just keep matriculating that ball down the damn field.
Yeah. Yeah, you know the saying, like, defense travels, right? Like, I've like your defense. The saying really is there. Like, your defense is going to be there, right? Like, your defense is gonna, whether it's home away, your defense is gonna be good. Feel the same way with Riley Leonard. Like, we all feel like Riley Leonard's going to have success running the football, no matter what it is. It doesn't matter like what Indiana does defensively. Riley Leonard is going to be able to run the football in this game, whether it's designed, whether it's getting outside the pocket. Like, Riley Leonard's going to have success. It's just one of those things you just feel good about. You feel good about Love and or Price breaking a run or two. You feel good about these things. You feel good about like Notre Dame or Rourke is only throwing 4 picks this year. I feel pretty good that Notre Dame's going to get a pick. I think they're going to get an interception that's going to help change the football game. So just some things that we've seen it all season, and you feel comfortable that's going to happen on Friday night.
100%. And I think, again, weather being a factor, I think the weather is going to affect Indiana's offense and their passing game more so than it's going to affect our approach. But like we've been talking about since long as I've known you, Singer, high stakes game. It's like broken record over here. High stakes game. Things get amped up, ratcheted up. Athleticism across from our offense gets dialed up. You need a guy that can make something happen with a little bit of backyard football. We've been clamoring for it. We got it in Riley Leonard, and lo and behold, look where we're at, right?
I think one of the biggest like talking points of this game, like not media talk aside, like actual football talk, is the weather. If it is as windy as it's supposed to be, right? Between 20 and 40 miles an hour, like that's something I've seen. Who cares from a Notre Dame standpoint, Mike? Do you expect if it were sunny and 70 with no wind? Notre Dame's not pushing the ball downfield very much, Mike. They're just not. Like, they haven't done it all year, really. Save for here and there. And you've seen 2 of the worst interceptions of your life when Notre Dame has pushed the ball downfield. So this is the wind, Mike, if it is indeed windy, like really windy, it's perfect for Notre Dame. It's like, all right, we're not doing that anyways. It's not really going to affect the 0 to 5 yard throws, 0 to 10 yard throws very much at all. And Indiana, that is going to affect them, right? Because if Notre Dame is, just playing their cover one, a way to beat that is push the ball downfield. You're not going to be able to do that. Right? Mm-hmm. You're not going to be able to do that. So it really will help Notre Dame if that is the case. Mike, anything you disagree with on that?
It'll help Notre Dame. And then, this passing offense that a lot of people were excited for going back to the preseason, offseason, because of Denbrock coming over and what he did at LSU with Jaden Daniels and 2 first-round picks, a wide receiver. It hasn't turned out to be that. And I'm sitting there going, even if it was 75 and sunny, like our receivers struggle to catch the ball when the weather's perfect. But now if it's 15-degree wind chill and 25-mile-an-hour winds and your fingers feel like they're going to fall off, let's just run the ball. And our offensive line played great against USC. And again, they have a nice defense, that great run defense, but I just really feel like we're going to be able to move people. I do.
Yeah.
And I don't think they've seen a talent like a Jeremiah Love. And I've always been a bigger fan of Love as opposed to Price, but let's not sleep on Price either. I think they're both going to go off.
Yeah. Yeah. Price has been very much a quality over quantity, man. He is able to break one all the time. So injury news, Mike, this was kind of revealed last week, confirmed this week. J Love is not going to be 100%, but he's going to play. KVA is out, I would expect, for at least the first couple rounds. And then Howard Cross is back, Mike. It's the first time that he'll have played in, a month and a half. Pretty big deal, Mike. You ecstatic to get Howard Cross back in this defense? Pretty much needed?
I think a lot of people have questions about our pass rush coming off the USC game. And you could talk about the marriage to a pass rush and your back end. They had some special talent at wide receiver. USC did. We're a little bit tired on the defensive side of the ball. But again, the pass rush is married to your coverage. And I just think that Howard Cross, this season hasn't gone the way that he would have liked it to because he's missed so much time with the ankle thing. But I expect him to be a mother effer. I really do. He's watching Xavier Watts win all these awards and such, and he's like, man, Riley Mills is going to be happy to have him back. But Howard Cross is a kid in this game that I'm really going to be fixed on because I just expect him to make up for some lost time, Singer.
I love that. Got a few comments I've got queued up, Mike.
Sure.
Ryan said, Goolsby's got a shiner from a bow-legged pigeon-toed guy for checking him out.
No, we're good. I'm not on drugs or anything. Just those Friday night lights, man, they're so bright. They're so bright. This is the game. Everybody's going to be watching. The whole country is going to be watching. Those lights are going to be bright.
I will just throw to my point that I was hoping for. Could you just imagine how much more massive this game would be if it was like Bama?
I'll grant you that.
Oh, it's huge in Indiana, which I personally haven't had any run-ins with their fans, Mike. I don't know if you have, but apparently they just are the biggest yappers. I guess it's an extension of your coach, Kurt Signetti, with the whole Google Me thing, and he's just, he's doing a lot of chirping. Fans are doing a lot of chirping. Have you had any run-ins with them?
Oh, just a couple. I think it's adorable. I think their fans are just cute as a button because they don't even know what they're doing. I think a lot of these people, and I want to stick up for Notre Dame fans, and I want to stick up for Notre Dame Subway alum, like my buddy John Kennedy. But it's like you look at some of these Twitter accounts where all this beef is taking place, and like they started their Twitter account 9 months ago. Like, you weren't an Indiana football fan. Get out of here. And a lot of what their contention is, IU fans, is like, how can you be a Notre Dame football fan when you didn't go to school there? Like, that's like where they're kind of planting their flag, right? And say, well, I've got a degree. Show us your Notre Dame degrees. And it's like, that's not what it's about. It's a national brand. Notre Dame fandom, as it was the case with me, and I know it was the case with John, it gets passed down generationally. Like it's something you're born into. It runs very deep.
Yeah.
So to kind of take that shot at Notre Dame fans because they don't have a degree from there, it's tacky. I think their whole slogan of "Never Daunted" is whack as shit. It's just whack. Like you're not good at this. And beyond that, Singer, I don't think they show up. I'm not the least bit concerned about Indiana fans having any sort of a presence in that stadium because it doesn't matter enough to them to sit there and freeze their tail off. It doesn't matter enough because this is all new to you. Does that make sense?
So what do you think? It's less than 5%?
I do.
Okay.
I do.
Yeah.
And that's the other thing. Getting back to like the noise in the stadium, I'm not saying assault these people, Singer.
Yeah.
We don't need to be kind either. Does that make sense? We don't need to be hospitable. Like, how was your time in South Bend? Hope you enjoyed the game. Just blow them off, right? Just blow them off.
Indiana's over-under for points scored in this game is 20.5. The under on that is even. It's a plus 100. I think that is a good play. I have a hard time seeing Indiana get to 20 points. Look, they could still even win the game, right? But I don't see them getting to 20 points, no matter what it is. I don't know if you got any thoughts on that before I move on.
My biggest concern about the game in general is them running the ball.
Yeah.
That's it. Because I've seen all week breaking down, or all year rather, breaking down the all 22. Like, and some of it's schematic, some of it's our linebackers are taught. We don't really fill downhill. Golden's okay with giving up. If it's 3rd and 11 or it's 3rd and 8, he'll give you 7. We rally to the ball. Like, we will give you 4 yards. And that's kind of how Northern Illinois beat us, was just 4 yards, 4 yards, 4 yards over and over and over.
Yeah. And Notre Dame needs to get you into 2nd and 11, 2nd and 12. And they just didn't do that enough against NIU, right? You need to get them.
Yeah, Golden can't really cook unless he can get you in 3rd and 8 plus. That's where he wants to be. Right. So if they're trying to throw the ball, if I'm them, I'm not throwing the ball on 1st down. Hammer the ball. So this is like, I'm watching Howard Cross with KBA being out. My eyes are going to be trained on Drake Bowen. Your Kaisers. I mean, this is a Drake Bowen type of game to me.
Okay, good thought there. I want to follow up on something. Let's say I'm sitting in a room with Mike Goolsby watching a football game, a Notre Dame football game. I hope to do that soon. What are you watching? Like, when you're watching offense, defense, like are you like, man, I'm not even watching the ball necessarily. Like when Leonard drops back, I'm looking at the line. Like, what is it that you're really paying attention to when you're watching the football game, like live?
The linebackers, the line play, more so now than I used to. But I'm the worst to watch a game with because I'm rewinding. Like my dad's probably watching this. It's like, oh, father, son, watch a football game. I don't think he enjoys it. Oh, we watched a boatload of football over Thanksgiving, so I should take that back. But I'm annoying to watch a game with, because I want to watch it back, instantaneously, But yeah, I mean, I like to watch run fits. I've always enjoyed that. And then generally speaking, sometimes you'll just, on any given series, like you'll take a step back and just kind of see who pops, right? See how kids are moving around.
I would be, to your point about Notre Dame and like the fan base, Super Say Nick, appreciate the $2. Like I'd be interested for folks in the chat to comment, or if you're watching back, like the lineage of your fandom, because I would assume you're spot on, and the people in the chat can talk about this. Like, were you the first in your family to like Notre Dame, or was it, your dad, or whatever the case may be in your specific situation? I'll be looking in the chat for that. I would love to hear from you guys on that.
Oh, everybody's got a story, but I mean, it goes back to when they were kind of the only show in town and they were on the radio, and that was our entertainment before TikTok and all this other stuff. And then you create all those fans and that fandom gets passed down. But like, my family, on my dad's side, like they're off the boat Irish immigrants, right? So that's how I was getting Notre Dame Christmas sweaters when I was 6 before I even really knew what Notre Dame was, you know?
Sure. Yeah, I'm just reading the chat. Yeah, grandfather. I've seen that.
Yep.
I think 5 times in 6 comments. So that is pretty cool. The legendary West Palm Pat says, without the Subway alumni, Notre Dame would be no different than a school like Marquette. Subway alumni built Notre Dame into a national school.
That's it. And then I think we've talked about, this is another recurring theme between you and I, in terms of like Notre Dame football. Where are the stars? Are we creating stars? Like, is the PR department and sports information department, are they doing what it takes to like create a star, like a brand name? And I think coming out of this game with so many eyeballs on the television, whether you're a Notre Dame fan or not, like a Jeremiah Love coming out of this game, stamp it. Like, this is his Heisman kickoff for next year. Like, stamp it. He's a star. And then on the defensive side of the ball, who else is going to show up and kind of get their name called, right?
True.
Yeah.
West Palm Pat, appreciate you. Mike Murphy, $10 super.
To create more fans, by the way, Singer, to close that loop, just to create, get more people engaged.
Mike Murphy, appreciate the 10. Didn't see a comment from you, Mike. I'll look out for you in the chat. Appreciate you. And again, Super Saiyan Nick, West Palm Pat, appreciate the super chats. A few more. Tech Panther said you look like you're about to hop on a Harley. I for all the talk about the jerseys, this is better. Like this outfit from Goolsby is better than.
Oh, dude, it's clean, baby. I mean, this is a Christmas gift from my folks. They understand I'm trying to switch up the wardrobe for all the podcasts.
And the Catholics versus convicts. That looks good.
Yeah.
Could you imagine if it was Notre Dame Miami tomorrow night? Or wait. It's today Wednesday, Friday night. I'm really thrown off.
Exactly. I get it.
Oh, that'd be so good.
Whatever, man. What could be, focus on the task at hand. I think I'm not
playing in the game.
It's not as sexy as it could be, but it's a good draw if we're trying to get out of there alive and move on.
Stephanie Joyce says you look like $1 million. Stephanie, hey, he's taken. Calm down. I'm just kidding. Stephanie. It's good to see you. Chris Evans said, must-win game. We will never live down getting bounced by Indiana round 1. Losing to Georgia is potentially bad enough. Let me ask you this real quick, Mike, and we got a couple more comments that we'll get back to our planned topics for the show, but this is more of a Tim Hyde thing. I don't know if you'll have a take on it. We can move on if that's if you don't want to.
Probably will.
You watched the show last night, so I think you heard us talk about this. But if Notre Dame does get bounced by Georgia, say it's respectable, 7 points or so, like how would you view this as a successful season? Like, no, you fell short of the ultimate goal of winning a national title, but it was still a good season. Like, do you? Because I personally think the longer time goes, the more we'll look back on this season and appreciate it, if that is the case.
Yes, it would be a successful season. And if you parse it out, if you're Marcus Freeman, it sure as shit is, because you got your contract extension. So mission accomplished there. But yeah, if you take the whole thing into account with all the injuries, it would be a successful season. Because I mean, shoot, coming out of that Northern Illinois game, if we're all being honest with each other, it's like, I don't know how many of us thought we would be here. I'm not sure I did.
Mike, if you have some time to kill one day, you should watch the NIU Goolsby Show. Because I feel like we were like talking about Freeman, like, is this the guy? And here we are, dude. And he hosting a game, and
I don't take back anything that I said. Then it's like, you don't take a Thursday practice off going into week 2. You just don't do it. And that, to me, it's like, that's just a boneheaded coaching thing. It's totally unnecessary, in the same vein that wearing black jerseys would have been totally unnecessary.
Yeah.
So, but he's come a long way.
Super Chatter here from Curry says, my dad despises Notre Dame. My grandpa's a diehard Michigan fan. My uncle took me to the rainy, snowy games in the early 90s, became an instant fanatic. That's sick. I love that. Appreciate the 5 there. Paul said, I think you guys are being overconfident. I'm going to be honest with you, Mike. It's not about my confidence in Notre Dame. It's my lack of confidence in Indiana. I just don't get it. My buddy Jack Sobel, Jack, if you're watching the show, I love you. He works with me at Blue and Gold, but dude, like when you look at Indiana's schedule, do you know what their marquee win is?
Michigan, a
bad Michigan team that should have got the doors beaten off of them by Ohio State, but rivalry game, you throw it out kind of deal. But like this is, I mean, I think Indiana, I mean, their whole number one rushing defense thing, I don't care.
Well, just to spend some time on Paul's comment here, being overconfident, and John and I got into this Monday night, and I actually got pretty upset.
Really?
Because you're talking about, I was angry on Patreon. But it was like, you're saying, okay, here's where we have advantages. You're kind of breaking down this game. And then it's like a firing squad from the live chat feature. And it's just like, aren't you worried about this? And aren't you worried about that? And aren't you worried about this? And it's like fans, and that's why I still have that player DNA. And I'm kind of caught in the middle of the fandom and the player DNA thing.
Sure.
And it's just like, it's more of a mindset thing. Like, should we go into this game? If you were on the team, Paul, should you go into this game biting your nails and puckered up? Or should you go into the game with a mindset that, like, sure, we have our shortcomings, but we're still going to win the game? And, like, that's why I had a huge shift coming out of the Navy game. And that was, like, the litmus test for me was how we look in this Navy game is going to determine my outlook for the rest of the season.
Okay.
And so it's just like, you're all going to watch the game. You're going to sit down and watch the game. I don't know if you're going to enjoy it. Because if the first series goes sideways and we go 3 and out, you're going to want to jump out the window. I don't look at games like that because it's football.
Yeah.
So it's just your mindset. I don't look at it as being overconfident, but I'm not going into a game worried.
Sure.
I don't see the point.
Yeah.
We're a really good team. And it's just like, and that's the other challenge to people. And believe me, I get it. Can you start to allow yourself, Singer, to like think that maybe this program has evolved past, and this is what we talk a lot about, with John. Like, have we evolved and improved to a point where we don't have to like worry about us crapping down our leg or shooting ourselves in the foot? It's like, we're actually a really good team, and it's okay to like acknowledge that. This isn't the Brian Kelly big game, turd era. This
is kind of the opposite. It's kind of the
opposite.
hide Notre Dame from MAC schools. That's what it is.
Or just practice on Thursday. But yes.
Yeah.
But it's got to be a shift. You could see, Singer, you could see it in the way these kids play. They play loose. They have fun. I think they have fun dominating people. There's been a big shift in terms of the style of play and the leadership in the building. There's so much energy, and yet so many fans, and I totally understand it. But like they want to jump back into the world of worry, and it's like I think it's okay to look forward to the game and be confident about it. I think it's okay.
I'm just thinking about Tim. I recorded my preview video with Tim for the game, and I asked him how he was feeling, and he said excited. But I know you know Tim. I know Tim. He's nervous as hell. He just does not want Notre Dame to lose. There's just something with fandom that makes you feel all sorts of ways.
Well, he's got that coach, all that scarring as a coach, right? And that I heard his prediction 17-16. He's a big, like, I don't care how you win, just get out of there alive. And I think sometimes Tim, from the coaching background, tends to operate from like worst case scenario. That's his starting point.
Yeah. Tim is something else, man. Sometime in the group chat. Tim. Love Tim. Such a troll. Nicholas Wood, $5 super chat. Appreciate you. Said hopefully get to hear you two for a few more weeks. Congratulations, Mike, on the baby. Thank you, Nicholas. Yeah, Ghouls. I can't do Sunday night. Could you do? Oh man, that sucks.
I can do whatever, dude.
Friday. We're not going to go Saturday. So Monday. We'll go next. Oh, you have John, but is that at 8 Eastern or I'm sorry, 8 Central? Usually you do, John.
It's 7 Central.
Okay.
Monday Night Raw is 7 Central. We'll figure it out, dude.
All right, yeah. So Monday night, Goolsby and I will be live next. All R. Mendoza, Notre Dame by 14. Go Irish. Let's go. Might have the same prediction there, R. Mendoza. I appreciate you. Beaston88 said, big fan since the late 90s, and my first Notre Dame game was Notre Dame versus Purdue in 2004. Was the total ass whooping. What the hell happened, Goolsby? Oh, shit.
Well, we were, I think that year we ended up like second to worst in terms of pass defense in the country. And you played Kyle Orton and Taylor Stubblefield, and they could throw the ball. I mean, we didn't have a great secondary, and that's just another reason you do now. You do now. It's just another reason to be confident. But that was the story there.
I have a Kyle Orton story. No, I can't remember if it was Kyle Orton. It might not have been Kyle Orton. Never mind. All right, moving on.
I've got a bunch. We had the same agent, working out for the NFL. Yeah.
Oh, this is going to kill me. And I have no one to verify my story with who the quarterback was. All right. Anyways, moving on. Beaston, appreciate you. Austin said, I'm not worried. It'll be bell to ass. It's time for the 17 IU fans to sit back down. Austin, appreciate it. Who could put down more wings watching a game, Singer or Goolsby? I would take me. You guys just see the upper half. You guys don't see, chest down.
What do you weigh, Singer? What do you?
We got almost 800 people. You think?
I'm not a big wing guy. I think they're kind of disgusting. I don't like having like crap under my fingernails. Pick something else. But we can both eat. We can both eat.
Yeah. Hey, did you see Riley Leonard's open letter to Notre Dame fans?
I read it.
What'd you think?
I read it while I was walking the dogs. It was cute, man. It was nice. And it was written very conversationally, where he was like, we dug a hole and it was like huge, and we were like, we should keep digging. It was very conversational style, which I appreciated. Let's talk about Riley Leonard. Can we do this? That was one of my bullet points.
Let's do it. Perfect segue.
And I feel like sometimes I'm like scolding our fans, or I'm just trying to like give you like a reminder. And it's always fun to look at like the Ian Books, the Sam Hartmans, the Riley Leonard. Could we win a national championship this year? Abso-freaking-lutely. Right? And we'll do a playoff bracket here in a minute. But if I pick Notre Dame to win a national championship, not saying it's going to happen, not being overconfident, Paul. It's fun to dream. It's what makes life tolerable. A little Rudy quote for you. But one of the reasons I'd be so confident that we could do it is, in fact, Riley Leonard. And he's gonna have a crappy opening series, and then people are gonna flame him on Twitter and all of this. I just don't think that Riley Leonard gets the credit he deserves for the success of this team this year. You don't have wide receivers that can play, that can run, that can catch, for crying out loud. You have a patchwork offensive line. You got two all-world running backs. But outside of that, Riley Leonard is the offense. And that look back in terms of bringing him in, as Freeman did, was brilliant. Because Freeman can look at that whole offensive unit and be like, man, I don't know what I'm working with. Let me bring in a magic man. And that's what he did.
Yeah, you would have to have an absolute freaking magician back there if it weren't Riley Leonard. Like if you were going someone who is more pocket oriented, like they would have to be tremendous evading the rush, and it would just be able to throw guys open with this group that they have offensively, Mike. Like Leonard, like someone asked in my show last night with Tim, like, would you rather have Indiana's quarterback or Leonard? And it's like, it's a cute question, but the answer is it's Leonard for this team. I don't know if they're like, how many other quarterbacks in the country, maybe like you could throw like Cam Ward, but like, who else would you rather have running the show for this Notre Dame team? Like there's a couple guys out there you can definitely make arguments for, but there's not many, Mike.
Yeah. Well, and again, you got to go back. Everybody drank the Kool-Aid that this year we had the wide receivers. You drank the same Kool-Aid the last 2-3 summers. Oh, we got Jaden Greathouse is going to light it up. What's the matter?
Just at me.
Oh, it's fine. But yet no wide receiver talent. And then early in the season, we couldn't protect him. Like, it was bad. And everybody's like, where's the deep ball? Riley can't throw a deep ball. And it's like, did you see him get his hit in the neck the snap before? We let somebody come unblocked right through the B gap. He takes it on the chin, and then he's supposed to just complete a 3rd and 12 through the air the very next snap, missing all the spring ball, all the stuff that kid's been through this season. And it's a fun conversation to talk about Freeman's contract extension, what that means for quarterback next year. It's a fun conversation to talk about so many of the fans glomming onto CJ Carr. And to your point, Mike, if the wide receiver group is going to be semi-questionable next year, would you rather have another Magic Man type, or would you rather have kind of a clinician in a CJ Carr that's going to make great decisions, be accurate? It's still going to be somewhat of a balancing act what you need going forward, because it's proven that having a Magic Man backyard guy that I've been asking for works, man. It wins.
Yeah. Well, what do you think about Freeman's comments that he's like, we're not going into the portal next year? Like, I don't know why you would make a declaration on that. It's just, you can still change your mind, I guess, but I don't know why you say that.
If you read that quote, and I can remember listening to it at a presser, he was led into that quote, right? The framing of the question, he was like led in, like, do you think that the quarterback of next year's team is in the building? And he was like, yeah, I do. But he didn't necessarily like volunteer it.
Yeah, but he did.
Come again?
I was just going to say, he has said, I think there's a couple of occasions that he did say, we're not going to the portal. So, yeah, he might have been for that instance, but I want to say there's one or two others where he said that. So,
well, if it's CJ Carr and he's been nicked up all year with an elbow, it's like that thing's got to heal at some point, I
have a question for you.
What's up?
Why not Kenny? All right, let's get back to the game at hand.
But that's my whole thing. It's just like, if this game doesn't start the way that we all want to, put your phone in your pocket, put your thumbs put your thumb somewhere, and just like wait till the 2nd, 3rd, 4th series. I don't want to hear Riley's garbage, this and that, because I think he's a huge, huge, huge part of the reason that we're here. And I didn't think that, week 1, week 2 either, but I got a set of eyes, and I think he's remarkable, and he should get more credit.
I think going into week 3, he was on a hot seat. And then,
he was bad.
I still think, all things considered, he played okay he played reasonably okay against A&M. That was just a tough game offensively all around. And then, NIU was bad. And then Purdue, started to, Purdue was okay. If I remember, I can't remember. I know the score of the Purdue game, but I don't remember him specifically. Miami of Ohio, I didn't think he looked great. I think after that game, he started rolling. But two things can be true. He is a great quarterback for this team, and he deserves more love than he's getting, especially when you compare him to last year's quarterback and the love that he got. But like Riley overall as a quarterback and be able to push the ball downfield and what his pro potential might look like, these can be two totally different takes.
He is,
if that makes sense.
He is an athlete playing quarterback. Right. He's an athlete playing quarterback. I want to say one more thing about Riley. Short passing game, this and that. And I was texting you and Tim the other night, and I didn't get a response. Kind of hurt my feelings. But I had a vision. And if we do complete a long ball in this game, it's going to be out of like a motion to bunch, fake tunnel screen, slot fade. So think of like a double move, kind of a fake. And either you're going to motion, it could be to a Raritan. I have a sense like he's going to motion as your number one receiver into the bunch formation, fake a block, some sort of a fake screen, slot fade. Early in the game, their safeties are going to be screaming downhill, all geeked up. So I could see that being our long ball. You've uncovered that watching the All-22. I don't want to take full credit for it. Jared Clark, former teammate, he's like, yeah, there's definitely something there out of that screen game. But anyways.
I got to talk to Jared last week on the phone.
Really he called you. That's right.
Yeah. Talked to him on the phone, text him a little bit. Really good guy, man. And yes,
great
Goolsby. I did not text you back. That's my bad.
Great dude.
My bad. Yeah, I like Jared a lot. Good guy. Shall we move on to doing a little? Actually, hold on. Let me look at our list to discuss. I don't know if we want to end more on the bracket. So let's kind of go rapid fire, Mike.
Sure.
Jagasaw back at practice. You're making a lot out of him working at left guard in practice.
Am I? But I get what you're saying.
You are making a lot of it. I'm not saying that it's nothing or it's something, but you are reading into it for sure.
Well, I'm just saying he's a guard is all. He's a guard. So I was thrilled to see him. And even watching him move, great feet. He's going to be a killer. Yeah. He's going to be a killer. But that's where I was just like, okay, finally, he landed where I always thought he would land.
Nicholas will appreciate the one. Big Killer asks, Singer, do you have a picture of Angeli? I do. I do have a picture of Angeli. I do. I'm not going to lie. Jeremiah Love, you think he's going to be catching the football a good bit? Now, do you think this primarily as a running back? Do you think we could see him, lined up anywhere else, like a little new wrinkle?
There's stuff. I hate to be the guy that and I just did it 3 minutes ago, predict plays or try to draw plays. But there's something there. This is another thing that you could just see in terms of a wrinkle. He's our best fullback, Jeremiah. Very violent, just an incredibly explosive kid. So all those quarterback draws where he's the lead blocker out of the gun, I saw this past game, Riley kind of did a fake quarterback draw, took a step back, and then threw a little pass. I could see an instance where Jeremiah Love comes through as a lead blocker, and then he just runs a streak right down the middle of the field. I could totally see that. But he did seem to be featured a little bit in the USC game as a receiver. And I go back to, I think Notre Dame knows what they have in him. Jeremiah Love was the reason that we hung around in that USC game just because of the tempo that he played with. And I think you're really going to start to feature him as you go into the playoffs. So, yeah, get him the ball in space against Division I AA athletes all day. Let's do it.
Okay, we talked about Carr real quick, but in your notes you did want to talk about Carr still being hurt. I know in practice that the media got to see, he was kind of just throwing the 5-yard, hey, quarterbacks are warming up, but didn't do any quarterback drills where they actually push the ball. I that's based off my memory from editing all the clips that our guy shot, but I feel like that's what the case was. So, yeah. What are you thinking on that? Do you have any tinfoil hat thoughts? Or
I don't like talking about injuries. I won't talk about injuries.
Okay.
I just question for the group. Leave it in the comments. It's not the why not Kenny. I'm not team Kenny. I'm not anti CJ Carr, and I'm sure I'll repeat that 76,000 times between now and next season. I don't have a horse in the race. I might prefer Kenny's arm and his athletic ability. I might prefer it. But I'm curious about where so many fans are it's CJ's team next year. It's CJ's team, and they won't be moved off of it.
Hold your horses. To Irish fans, hold your horses.
Yeah, just where does that come from? I have some theories as to is that the media narrative where it's you get more clicks because people, they followed his recruitment for 2 years and the cachet of the last name and who his granddad is. I get all of that. But just open your mind to consider that it might be another guy. It could be Steve. It could be Kenny. It's going to be a competition. And then add to the fact that CJ Carr's had an elbow all year. And it's is it still his team next year? You haven't taken anything into account. And I just find it a little bit bizarre. And that's why I started the Why Not Kenny. It's don't forget about this kid is all. Because so many people, the second CJ Carr got here, shame on Tyler Horka. I'm being a little bit tongue-in-cheek. But he's talking about him mastering the offense, his mastery of the offense day one of spring ball, and he's throwing balls in warm-ups. It's what are we doing here? Is this a little irresponsible? It's interesting to me how so many people have it. They won't move off of it. CJ Carr's team going forward. I'm not saying it's not, but where does that come from? It's just something maybe look in the mirror and just think about maybe it could be somebody else potentially.
Mark with Wrench said, I'll open my mind to Kenny if you open your mind to CJ. Deal. I just said, Mark,
my mind is open to CJ.
Well, I want everyone to have their mind
And that's
open to
that's the
Steve.
world that we live in. Is if you're not black, can't say black or white. It's not a racial thing. But if you're not all in or all out, and I'm right there in the middle. I like them both. I think they both have pros and cons based off the limited viewing that we've had of each. But if you're like, hey, maybe Kenny's the guy, in people's minds, it means you're anti-Carr, which is silly.
Kicking game, Mike.
Oh boy.
Nervous?
Yes.
I mean, it's like it's kind of with the deep passing game. It's like it wasn't pretty when it was 70 and sunny and no wind. It's definitely that's kind of the case with the kicking game. And now you add some wind to it, so better be ready to go for it on fourth down.
It feels like the Twilight Zone or something. It's like this can't be real. We have 4 kickers on the team. And we keep trying to get Mitch healthy. And per Tyler's report in practice, he's spraying him left, he's spraying him right. Now, is it a mental thing, much less the groin or hip, whatever his injury thing was? But it's very worrisome. But I'm just like, dude, bring back Mitchapalooza, baby. Let's just go for it on fourth down.
Why do you think we haven't seen that? Do you think coordinators just like, oh, well, that was Reese's thing. It's not going to be my thing.
You make a great point. I hadn't thought of that until you beat me to it, but that's where my mind went. There's a lot that we got into this on Patreon the other night. Like, people want to see play action from under center, and it's like, man, could you not see a little bit of speed option with Riley under center, right off the edge? I mean, there's a million things. Speed option to Tyler Buckner, and then he's throwing it as the running back. I mean, there's a million things we could do, but it is curious that you haven't seen it because it does work.
Armin does a $5 super chat. Tight end is going to be the X factor in the playoff front. Eli Raridan is going to be a household name. I like that.
So, 2 thoughts on the tight ends. Eli, to me, isn't necessarily an intermediate guy. Michael Mayer and Mitch Evans are very much similar type players, kind of chesty, 6'4", 6'5", heavy, 265, throwback type guys. They're great 7 to 12. But if it's a long route, throw those to Eli. Eli's 6'7". He's not going to be great, running that intermediate underneath stuff, kind of sitting down and finding room. Let him open up and run. So your vertical passing game, that's where I see Eli being used best. But he's absolutely a mismatch.
Armin does appreciate the super chat. Okay, so Marcus Freeman's extension. We talked about it a little bit. So he was signed, or his original deal was, I think, is going to end in 2026. Gets extended 4 more years past that. So he's your head coach until 2030, or through 2030, I should say, unless something were to happen before then, which in college football, it's always possible. But Mike, just thoughts on Marcus Freeman's contract extension.
Congratulations. This might rile some people up, but I'm like, it's like, yes, we know he's totally bought into Notre Dame and he loves the program and he wants to see this thing through. It's like, absolutely. But there's money involved too. Right. So it's not like he's not doing this out of the goodness of his heart and for charity. The extension felt maybe a little bit premature, maybe like 48 hours premature. I don't personally feel like Singer that other teams are tripping over themselves to hire him. I don't necessarily feel that way, because where else would he go if Notre Dame is a top 7, 8 football team currently, and always kind of has been top 10-ish? Where would he go other than, like, you're either going to a premier SEC school or like an Ohio State? Those are the only other places that would poach him. And I don't see a premier SEC team tripping over themselves to sign him. But I'm happy that we're – go ahead.
What about the NFL?
I mean, dude, there's guys that are coaches in the NFL that are like crazy young, and it's just because of their mind, right? They are football sickos, right? Like,
it's not,
and they're
Freeman?
grinders. Like, Freeman's much better suited with the personality and the charisma and the recruiting and all that at the college level.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? He's not an X's and O's guy. And then no, I have no concerns that he's a fit for the NFL. That's not a knock. I hope it's not interpreted as such.
Yeah. Domer Watt, appreciate the 10.
My only other thought about the extension was the way the thing is set up, and it just is. And this is objective. People are going to read it as negative. You have the highest paid offensive coordinator, I believe. You have the highest paid defensive coordinator, I believe. You have, $1 million transfer quarterback. You have an analyst. What's the matter, Mike?
Nothing. Just trying to hear if there's a crying baby or not. I can't tell sometimes.
That's just me. But the infrastructure, offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator, $1 million quarterback, rentals, kicking the can down the road. You have your analyst that is making a lot of decisions for you. So he set it up brilliantly to get to the contract extension. Brilliant. It's brilliant. So that's why I say congratulations, but it felt a little bit premature, in my opinion, especially coming off the back of this recruiting class. And, we'll see what happens at quarterback next year. Part of Tim believes that they'll look at the transfer portal, right? So if you get another transfer quarterback next year, it's like, we're paying you almost $11 million a year just to keep renting people. Like, how do you build a program with that? So I hope some of that makes sense.
I think if they go to the portal for a quarterback, they are getting someone that you just can't turn down. And it's like, okay, it's worth for me to walk back what I said earlier. Like, I will take that if I can get fill in the blank there. That's my read on the.
We don't want Quinn Ewers, folks. Save yourself the heartache. You don't want.
Folks, please hit the thumbs up on this video. Of course, subscribe to the channel if you are new here. If you're just tuning in, say in the past 10 minutes or so, man, you missed so much good content. Whenever we're done with this, make sure you rewind, watch the entire show from the beginning. For all of you folks asking, why is Goolsby wearing those glasses? You don't think we asked? You don't think I asked him about it? We didn't talk about it? Come on. So you just got to watch from the beginning. Goolsby, you ready to go? Go ahead.
Real quick, did that sound negative, my thoughts on the extension? Did that come across as negative?
Didn't come across as rosy and colorful, but it's I wouldn't say critical, but you gave your take. I mean, I don't have any issues with it.
Okay. I'll just say the kid gloves, as he's learned how to do this job, the kid gloves are off. So I think you can look at Freeman and his program with a slightly more critical lens than you did a year ago, or even at the start of the season. I mean, he's the highest paid coach that hasn't won a national championship, much less a playoff game.
It's interesting because like you get this extension. It's like, all right, they're not getting rid of me anytime soon. Like in year 4, I can have like a not really a rebuild, Mike, but you're losing a lot on defense. And you are going, if you do go in-house, you're going to have a quarterback. Like your quarterback room has one start, and that's Steve in the Sun Bowl. Who knows what the receiver room looks like? So it could, like, I think this year's team is going to be better than next year's team. So it's just like, am I making sense here, Mike? That like kind of buys you, like this season buys you goodwill. Next year you can kind of. It's okay if it's not a first round hosting year, if that makes sense.
I get it. And I wouldn't say that this year's team is going to be better than next year's team. I wouldn't say that.
I guess we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see.
So. I personally think so.
Oh, can we talk about that? Can we spend 2 minutes on this?
Okay.
Start at the offensive line. The offensive line next year, is it going to be better? Running backs, it's a wash. Quarterback,
probably a little bit better running back next year, right? So if it's the same guys, they're a year older, a little bit better.
Quarterback to be determined.
Probably, I mean, might be a better thrower of the football, but not a better athlete. I mean, none of the quarterbacks, if they do stick with the guys on the team, none of those guys are better athletes than Riley.
And Yeah, you'll have a couple more stupid interceptions that you could never forgive a Tyler Buckner for, but you will a CJ Carr when he throws a pick six as a young quarterback. Wide receiver next year, is it going to be better than this year?
It wouldn't be difficult.
So you see where I'm coming from?
Tight ends.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know.
Probably about the same.
Probably about the same, especially with Mitch just kind of not being himself from last year. But then you go to defense.
Okay.
No Cross, no Mills. You're going to bring in someone from the portal on the interior defensive line. Defensive ends. Traore come back. Bryce Young, a little bit older. Patello comes back from injury. We'll see. But I feel like D ends might be better. Interior D line, probably not. Linebackers should be a little bit better.
I don't know, dude. So I'm optimistic. Like, I love Sevillano.
Yeah.
I prefer Gabe Rubio. If it was a mix down where there's a high percentage of a run possibility, put Rubio in over Mills. Mills is on skates versus double team. Like, Rubio plays the run really, really well. And I think Bryce Young's going to be really special, really like all-timer special. Cornerback is the same, if not better. And then you lose, I love Tim's stat about the PFF grade for this Alabama nickel that we got, how his PFF grade is better than Clark's or better than Thomas Harper, better than Tariq Bracy's coming here. And then linebacker, you lose Kaiser.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. You're kind of talking me into it. And then, safety. Watts is tremendous.
Sure.
We'll see what they do next to Schuler. But the DB thing, it's like, do you count that pre-Morrison or post-Morrison? Because if it's post-Morrison, it'll be better. But if you're talking pre-Ben Morrison, it's not going to be better.
And that's assuming all these kids come back and don't leave.
There's definitely a lot of variables there, but I don't know. Yeah, you could be right. You could be right. We'll see how they do in the portal and what happens in terms of incomings and outgoings. But all right, I'll walk that back, Mike, and I will say it's to be determined. But I might like this, and next year's roster or next year's schedule might be a little bit more difficult. I don't remember it off the top of my head, but I feel like it will be. All right, Mike. Bracket time. This is very much a Tim Hyde kind of thing. I thought you wouldn't want to do this, but we're doing it.
Okay.
Clemson, Texas in the 12-5. Who you got?
And can you pull up the lines to coincide with this? I'll buy you a minute.
Yeah.
But we'll take Texas. We'll take Texas.
Okay. All right. Tennessee, Ohio State, and Columbus.
I'm going to go with Ohio State, but I heard Tim predict Tennessee, and I like that too. I could totally – all of these games to me are very much – you could talk me into making it a toss-up, but I'm going to go with Ohio State just because I don't want to piggyback what Tim said. We'll go Ohio State.
So Texas was 11.5-point favorite. Ohio State 7 points. That's surprising. That's high. I feel like.
Yeah. So if I do a picks to click segment on Patreon, I actually had a pretty good year, but I would take Tennessee to cover here.
Yeah.
And then also, for folks, if you're a sophisticated bettor, I don't know if your bookie or your website or whatever lets you do it, but some of these games, bet like the first half line. Like I might bet Tennessee first half money line, even though they might lose by 7, but I might just bet that first half, right?
Sure. First half is more likely to start slower, right, and end tighter.
That's right.
Penn State, Mike, is 8.5-point favorites hosting SMU.
I swear to you, that game was like 12 when I looked a couple weeks ago. I don't know if you can pull that up.
I think I can.
SMU impresses me, and they made a monster comeback against Clemson. I really like the team, just a lot of fun athletes. I know Penn State's going to be a weather game.
It's been 8.5, Mike. 8.5.
Okay, maybe I was seeing something else, but I'll take Penn State. Okay,
and then Indiana.
We're taking Notre Dame.
Okay. Let's go back to the top of the bracket. Texas, Arizona State.
You're going to do this to me. Here we go. We'll take Texas.
Ohio State, Oregon.
We'll take Oregon.
Okay. Penn State, Boise.
Again, that Ohio State-Oregon game could go either way for me personally.
I agree.
It really could. And I wouldn't I don't bet conference championship weekend. I never bet that. I just don't historically. So I probably won't bet a lot of these games. Penn State, Boise State. We'll take Penn State.
Okay. Notre Dame, Georgia.
I'll take Notre Dame.
Okay. Why?
Here's my reasoning.
Okay.
That Carson Beck kids stay off social media, especially if you're like a stud college quarterback. Don't be texting girls. I don't know if you've seen any of this stuff on Twitter. He's had a rough season. A lot of girls are screenshotting.
Oh, no.
Well, bad look. Bad look. But he started off poor, and then he kind of found his stride as of late. He's not going to play against Notre Dame. I don't think he plays the rest of the season. I think he needs like a surgery type thing. They bring in the kid, the backup, who doesn't look like much. He almost looks like a backup quarterback in the NFL, whereas you're paying your starters $40 million a year, so you have some little no-name, like literally a no-name guy as a backup. You never even heard of him. He's a no-name guy as a backup. The team kind of rallied to save that game. And I don't know if you can replicate that same mojo weeks later, if that makes any sense. So
I think that kid might be better than Carson Beck.
Golden scheme versus a backup quarterback. I don't.
That kid might be better than he will. In my opinion, I think he's going to be better than Carson Beck. Gunnar Stockton is a kid in Georgia. Familiar with him? He was. I really liked him.
What was he like highly ranked?
I actually thought he was ranked higher than he was. 149 and number 9 quarterback in the 2022 class. But I think he's going to be really good.
Well, you like a Kenny Minchie.
6'1", 215.
Yeah, he does. To my point, he doesn't look like much, but it's an easy get for Georgia. It's a lazy recruitment. He's in their backyard. He doesn't scare you in terms of some of the throws that Carson Beck can make. And I could just tell you as a player, like whenever we were going up against an inexperienced quarterback, you're licking your chops.
John Hagan is calling for a Buckner screen pass to throw to Leonard. There you go.
All right.
John Hagan, appreciate the $5. And Gordon did too. Next year's O-line and running backs will be great. That's the best situation to be in if you're going with an unknown quarterback. If we get some portal receivers, even better. You can get portal receivers.
We got portal receivers this year. Talk your shit, Bo. Keep it up, Singer. Keep it up. Talk yo ish, Bo.
Season's not over, Goolsby. He's going to get the last laugh. All right, Texas, Oregon.
Just to upset the apple cart, we're going to take Texas.
Do you like the Longhorns this season?
I like their defense, and I'm a big culture guy when I bet college football. I'm not a big stats guy. You look at too many stats, you drive yourself nuts. Oregon they're like I can't think of a good analogy, but like they're all show. It's speed, it's show. You've seen it for years and years and years and years. Like that's their culture. But if you get them into a fist fight, I don't think they want any.
I don't think that's Oregon anymore with Lanning, though.
It is. You watched Oregon, Ohio State. They're not a physical team.
I think they're the best team in the country. I don't know.
I'm not saying that they're not. But several teams have given them a run, and like I said, they're small and they're fast.
You can score on Oregon for sure, but I don't know.
But can Oregon score on Texas?
I hope we find out.
Fun. It's a great offense versus a great defense.
Yeah. Even Boise put up a good bit of points on Oregon.
That's what I'm saying, man.
Penn State, Notre Dame.
Notre Dame.
Does Notre Dame win the national championship, Mike?
This is the championship. I'm not going to
put really good defenses.
Yeah, it's two really good defenses. Who's got more horses? Who's got better coaching?
Who's got the better quarterback?
Yeah. So, I mean, you probably have to give the nod to Texas.
Texas is like the Texas love. I get like watching them, but their resume, you know what their best win is? At A&M, winning by 10 points. That's Notre Dame's. Like they won at Michigan. They beat up on OU. They beat Vanderbilt by 3 points on the road. Like they to this point, like their best win is a loss against Georgia in the SEC championship game. So
well, give me Notre Dame then. Give me Notre Dame. Singer.
You said Texas.
Give me Notre Dame. I changed my mind. It's my show. I changed my mind.
It is your show.
And I'm not saying I think Notre Dame's going to win the national championship. I'm not being overconfident. I hate doing this stuff. Singer knows that. I'm playing along. I'm focused on Indiana.
You could have said no. You could have said no.
No, whatever.
All right. For what it's worth, here was mine.
Okay.
Because there's always upsets. There's always is.
Sure.
You're going to have it. And I love picking the 12-5. When I fill out a bracket, I don't watch any college basketball anymore.
I agree with this. I could see it happening.
I always pick the 12 beating the 5. So I got Clemson. Mike's almost national championship winner. I got them going down in the first round. Give me Clemson to upset Texas. Clemson just going in. I've got nothing to lose. We're going to let them hang. And Cade Klubnik shows up in big game Dabo. Gets himself a win. Tennessee, Ohio State is a very difficult game for me to pick. I'll take Ohio State. SMU or Penn State over SMU. Notre Dame over Indiana. Clemson, just keep their mojo rolling, beats Arizona State. Give me Oregon past Ohio State, and then I'll take Oregon over Clemson. So I got Oregon in the national title game. Notre Dame to beat Georgia in an ugly one, like a 17-14. Penn State gets by Boise. Notre Dame beats Penn State, and then Oregon beats Notre Dame. That's what I got.
Can you remember what I picked? Because I won't.
There will be record of this on our YouTube show, so it'll be easy enough.
That's fair. We'll go back. We'll do it. I'll do Tim's. I got Tim's. Tim went chalk the entire way, pretty much. He's got Georgia beating Oregon, I think, but he went pretty much like who would be favorited all the way. J Vitt says 1 week at a time. J Vitt, appreciate the 5, brother. Will Goolsby? Good show, brother. I have one more thing.
Let's do it.
Jalen Sneed, if you're watching this, or if somebody watches this, share this with Jalen Sneed. Somebody's going to get to the quarterback in this game. It's probably going to be Howard Cross, but whether it's a Bryce Young, somebody else is going to assert themselves, and I want to believe it can be Jalen Sneed. Jalen likes to rush off the edge, outside foot up. Man, forget what Coach Washington tells you to do. Make an inside move. Outside foot's up, your fourth step, go inside. You have so much speed where you just get ran by the quarterback all the time. Just roll the dice on some 3rd and long. And I don't care if Coach Washington screams at you in film the next day. Go inside. You're athletic enough to flatten out and chase him if the quarterback escapes. You'll catch him. But go inside. Go inside. I don't care what the scheme calls. Don't wait for a game. If it's a straight rush, 1, 2, 3, 4, go inside. Inside foot up, do it on your 3rd step. You'll win. Guaranteed. Guaranteed.
Off the top of your head, how many times did Sneed do that this year?
Never. Unless it's a game. It's a called, stunt.
Stunt, right.
But if they just let you pin your ears back, I can promise you that tackle is shaking in his boots because of your speed, and you flash that speed, make him, he's going to cross over in his pass set. You're going to go right by him inside move.
Yeah.
Promise.
And if he's seen you on film and he studied you, it's like, all right, Sneed's going outside. I know that. So it becomes easier to block you, right?
4th step, outside foot, 1, 2, 3, 4, stick that foot in the ground, chop it, swim move, something. It's there, dude. Holy smokes, is it there?
Goolsby, good show as always. Where are you watching the game, man?
At home.
Yeah. I didn't even see you take off the glasses. I didn't even notice.
Friday Night Lights. It's going to be loud. It's going to be bright. Biggest game of the weekend. let's be optimistic going into it. Should be a big win.
All right, brother. Well, I appreciate the show. Good stuff today, folks. Hit the thumbs up. Subscribe for more content. If you're just tuning in, make sure you rewind, watch the beginning of the show. Sobel and Horka live tomorrow at 1 p.m. Eastern time. Tim and I will be live after the game, and then Goolsby and I most likely Monday. I'm going to the Dolphins game on Sunday. I got tickets to go to Miami, so we're just freaking going to Miami. Don't tell anyone. That's going to end the show, folks. Appreciate you for watching, and as always, we will catch you next time.